Assalamualaikum to Doctor. So today we are from Group 7. Would like to present and discuss the case on board of Tender Dilemma, Challenges, Success and Accountability. So this is our team members. Our group leader Nur Hidayah binti Azizan, matrix number is 264229. Nur Farisha Liana binti Shahrum, matrix number is 264216. Nurul Ashiki binti Azmi, matrix number is 264679. Nik Nur Aisyah binti Nik Ismail, matrix number is 264766. And last but not least, me myself, Nur Atira Hazika binti Muhammad Said. My matrix number is 264828. While this is the content of our presentation today. So let's get started to the introduction of the case. This case is basically story about what have Mr. Abu done where he committed corruption such as receive bribe, give and many more due to some pressure such as family, finance and health pressure. In terms of family pressure, he is the breadwinner in the family and he need to support his family at Yan Village Kedah. While in terms of health pressure, he got high blood pressure and his health deteriorated. The last one on finance pressure, where a lot of money used to cure his illness and he took some loan from Ahlong. So as a result, the compactors or garbage lorry received did not as expected as in order specification and does not meet the criteria. To make it worse, it was queried by the auditor in the audit findings about 4 matters. The next one on problem statement, we come out into two perspectives. The first one from the side of Mr. Abu and the second one is from the side of Datuk Zainal and ABBA Municipal Council. The first problem is from Mr. Abu, where he does not comply with the rules and regulation as stated in Malaysian Anti-Corruption Act 2009 in Section 17A and in Section 25(1) as stated in the slide. As we can see that Mr. Abu is doing offence where he received a lot of reward from Mr. Chu. For example, he received small gift, his new bike, iPhone 12 and iPad Pro given by Mr. Chu. His action already break the rules as stated in Section 17A and 25(1) Malaysian Anti-Corruption Act 2009 as he accepting bribes such as his new BMW Superbike and iPhone 12 given by Mr. Chu to help his company to be awarded with a tender to supply 15 units of compactors worth 3 million. The second problem we would like to mention is from the side of Datuk Zainal and ABBA Municipal Council. Audit findings of the procurement have been summarized. Firstly, about 155 or 62% of procurement did not comply with the appointment procedures. The value of the procurements was about 4.03 million. Secondly, the issue of breakdowns of procurement into smaller portions and procurement without going through the committee assessment. While the third one, about 24% or 3.58 million of the procurement was not implemented according to the specification. There were issues of non-compliance with procurement specifications, such as not following agreed schedule and compactors supplied were not as per specification indicated in the agreement. The last one, 110 or about 44% procurements did not comply with the contractor or supplier appointment procedures and the value of procurement amounted to 4.28 million. From all these audit findings, which conducted in August to November 2020, on 250 procurement samples found out that some weakness related to compliance with regulations and procurement planning, and it may impact the interest of the government. We can say that there are lack of internal control in process of procurement and lack of authorization. That's all from me. Next, I will pass to the next presenter to continue discussing this case.
Thank you to Atira on that. Nini and Aisha 264766 will continue discussing the case on the causes that influence the problem. As mentioned by Atira before, the problem comes from two parties of the tender board, which is Mr. Abu and Datuk Zainal with the council. First, I will discuss on what had influenced Mr. Abu that made he commit the corruption. Throughout the case, it can be seen that elements in fraud triangle had existed. The first one is perceived pressure. Most fraud experts believe that pressure can be divided into four main groups, which is financial, vice pressure, work-related, and last one other pressure. Studies also suggest that about 95% of fraud being committed is due to either financial or vice-related pressure. From the case also, It is mentioned clearly that Mr. Abu has faced problems in family, finance and health matter. Mr. Abu being stressed on the fact that he is the only breadwinner and need to support his own family and also family at the hometown. Also his own greed and attitude that living beyond one's means had harmed himself that makes him keep on receiving the bribes and also involved with Ahlong. This provoked him to do the corruption to get more monies as his debt keep on piling after he fell sick and admitted to hospital. Also, in terms of work-related pressure, Mr. Abu also feel burdened on completing the tender evaluation. He had been at loss and unable to sleep soundly as he need to complete the task while proving that he could achieve the high desired KPI targeted by the management. Next element is perceived opportunity that Mr. Abu had. As a board and committee member, the position had give opportunity to him as he hold an important role and authority power in the organization. This is what makes him able to do the lobbying, corruption, and abuse of power. He also becomes the target of the suppliers that looking for project tenders and as he can be the problem solver for these people. And the last one under the triangle is rationalization, for is said always involved in lying to not only someone else but also to the fraudster himself that what they are doing is justifiable. As in the case, even though sometimes Mr. Abu thinks like, is it okay for him to do and receive all this gift? And also when he remember back about his mom and also his senior that remind him to do good, he still didn't repent and convince himself that the wrongdoing will not get caught. Okay, so next I'll discuss on the causes of problem with Datuk Zainal and the ABBA Municipal Council. It can be said that corporate governance in the organization still need to be improved as it failed to prevent the corruption from occurring. And also in terms of audit problems that being pointed out by the National Audit Department. Even though Datuk Zainal had always remind about the principle that need to be followed by them at all times, but the lack of board effectiveness is still exists. This is because the problem came from the wrongdoing of the board member itself. Also, in terms of communication, effective communication can make the fraudster feel more free to do what they want as they were not really being questioned when they do the work. In this case, there were no really consistent communication being made among the members. Lastly, the ineffectiveness of internal audit in the organization also makes the problem able to be done. This is because the problem are only being discovered when Datuk Zainal received audit findings from the National Audit Department and not from the internal audit of the organization itself. And that's all from me. Thank you.
We move to the next part, which is decision criteria and alternative solution. Firstly is strain code of conduct and ethical issue. Aba Municipal Council can strain code of conduct or ethical code to guide their employees work together and engage with customer or society. Strong company values can be really inspiring. For example, clothing company H&M believe in boosting entrepreneurial spirit, while IKEA values togetherness and enthusiasm. However, when updating the policies, Datuk Zainal can invite their employee to together creating and feel a part of the company vision and values. Second is segregation of duties. Segregation of duty is the concept of having more than one person required to complete a task. In this case, in business, the separation by sharing of more than one individual in one single task is an internal intended to help to prevent fraud and error in Aba Municipal Council. After that, the separation duties can make Mr. Abu less discretion on procurement must meet key performance indicator KPIs target by the top management. Third is implement internal control. Implement internal control is broadly defined as a process affected by an entity board of directors, management, and other personnel designed to provide reasonable assurance regarding the achievement of objectives in the effectiveness and efficiency of operations. Liability of financial reporting also complies with applicable laws and regulations. By implementing internal control, it helps to ensure that employees in Aba Municipal Council doing the right job in the right way to achieve efficient operation in the workplace in compliance with laws and regulations. Fourth is create positive work environment. In create positive work environment, the company must have clear communication between a boss and his or her employee to create positive working relationship. The employee also need to understand what company wants them to accomplish, but employee also need to have an idea of what company expect from them. There should be an equal amount of communication from employer and employee. Lastly is conduct proactive fraud editing. Having audit does not mean that the company can find out every fraud that occurs in its financial statement. Auditors are content to conduct financial, operational, and compliance audit and to investigate fraud only when symptoms are so egregious that fraud is suspected. By increasing the fear of getting caught, it gives effect that proactive auditing reduces fraudulent behavior. The Auditing Standard Board believes that by forcing auditors to explicitly consider and brainstorm about fraud, the likelihood that auditors will detect material misstatement due to fraud in a financial statement audit will be increased. Proactive fraud detection cannot only catch fraud that are occurring early, but it can also serve as a powerful deterrent when employees and others know that an organization is always searching for fraud that may be occurring.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Farshana binti Charo, metric number 264216. Okay, today we'll explain about recommendation, solution, implementation, and justification. Okay, as corruption among officials can occur due to a lot of factors, they need to increase their integrity in order to prevent corruption. As we know, integrity is a key for assuring justice, non-discrimination, and compliance in the public procurement process, as it corresponds to keeping ethical norms and moral principles of honesty, professionalism, and righteousness. As a result, any effort to combat corruption in public procurement must start with maintaining integrity. Thus, Mr. Abu, who is one of the tender committee members at ABPA Municipal Council for 5 years, need to have integrity and follow the specific codes of conduct that has been stipulated by the ABPA Municipal Council or government. As codes of conduct frequently accompanied by particular manuals and training to assist procurement authorities in implementing this standard in their daily work. Public officials, particularly procurement authorities, might benefit from ethics or integrity training to improve awareness, enhance expertise and commitment, and build a culture of integrity in their organization. To avoid such corruption to occur again, Mr. Abu needs to follow and comply with the specific codes of conduct. If he fails to maintain his integrity, it may lead to a bad reputation to himself as well as one of the tender committee as well as to ABBA Municipal Council after being exposed to the public because of the corruption. Mr. Abu must have insisted and did not entertain the contractor as well as not accept any gift from them. It is to keep professionalism and not be biased toward others. Besides, if he keeps accepting the gift, the contractor will think it's fine to do so. I think he must carefully choose the best tender and not choose who gives him the best gift or anything else. It is also because this tender will be used for developing any project that will benefit our pupil, so he must choose the best tender to give the best quality performance and services to the community. In addition, we all know that transparency is crucial in public procurement because it not only promotes accountability and enable access to information, but it also helps level the playing field for business by enabling small and medium firms to join. As a public servant, Mr. Abu must practice transparency while performing his duty. I think if he is more transparent with other tender committee or his employee, it will be more successful in various aspects. Those acne weakness or dissatisfaction related to compliance with regulation and procurement planning can be reduced or avoided. Thus, it is very necessary that every employee practice transparency in the workplace because they can feel encouraged to share when they witness high management being open or cooperative with the rest of the organization. It will appreciate employees' hard work and accomplishments and foster trust between management and employees, resulting in happier, more employee involvement. Next, ABPA Municipal Council need to do a job rotation for those who will be in charge and assigned as a tender committees. So it will not be the same person to be in charge or assigned to tender committee as they will do the different tasks from the previous years. If they maintain a tender committee for a long time, the contractor can easily make a deal with the tender committee. For instance, Mr. Abu get pressure and makes willing to accept a gift from the contractor that lead him to the corruption. Therefore, if Mr. Abu has not been assigned to be a tender committee for 5 years, maybe his corruption can be prevented. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nurul Ashikin binti Azmi and my metric number 264679. I will continue the presentation with recommended solution. This recommended solution will make Aba Municipal Council have a good system of internal control. Good system of internal control is very important to ensure the accomplishment of goals and objectives of the company. They provide the level financial footing, especially for management to make any decision for the company. Good system of internal control also helps to ensure the effective and efficient any the operations that accomplish the goals of the units and still protect employees and their assets. Next is how to get a good system of internal control. One of the recommended solutions is to have authorizations and approval. The authorizations and approval are control activities that mitigate the risk of inappropriate transactions. They serve as fraud deterrents and enforce segregations of duties. For example, Aba Municipal Council should have a policy that all selection tender must approved by the director. It is important that the person who approves the selection tender have the authority to do so and have necessary knowledge to make informed decisions. Besides that, segregation of duties will also help the company to have a good system of internal control. Segregation of duties have cookie purpose, which is to ensure that direct is oversight and if you to catch errors, and it also helps to prevent frauds or theft because it equates to people or more to call it in order to hide your transactions. Segregation of duties involves separating three functions and having them conducted by different employees. The first one having custody of assets. Second is being able to authorize the use of assets, and the last is recording keeping of assets. This segregation of duties is very important to prevent any employee or especially Mr. Abu to commit fraud. The recommended solution is suggested for Aba Municipal Council to do. It is very important to Aba Municipal Council to take this action to prevent any fraud in future. Why we choose authorization and approval as our recommended solution is because most suitable solution for preventive vendor fraud, which is bid rigging. Second is internal control system consists of the formal policies and procedures that ensure employees are in compliance with corporate policies. Next is why authorization and approval is important. It is because there are 5 components of internal control. The first one is control environment. Control environment is crucial since it is the foundations for the 4 other components of internal control. The control environment sets the tone at the top of an organization and provides discipline and structure. Second is risk assessment. Risk assessment is the identification and analysis of risks that could prevent the organization from achieving its objectives. Third component is control activities, which are the policies and procedures that help ensure that management directives are carried out. One of the most important control activities is segregation of duties. Information and communication is the fourth component of internal control. This relates to the identification and transfer of pertinent information in a timely manner that permits personnel to perform its responsibilities. The last component is monitoring, which is a key element of management and responsibilities when it comes to internal control. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
To conclude, there are two parties that become the problem to this case, which are Mr. Abu and Datuk Zainal with ABBA Municipal Council. The lack of internal control and lack of authorization become the issue in this case. There are some cause of problem that we figured out in terms of fraud triangle and corporate governance failure of Mr. Abu and Datuk Zainal with ABBA Municipal Council. We even come up with some alternative solution and recommendations to solve this case that has been presented by my team members. If both parties take proactive action and necessary solution, the problem can be avoided. So that's all from us. Thank you.